Welcome. I believe we are live. I believe the sound is coming out. I just got everything set back up from an amazing trip out at the Hell City Tattoo Festival in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you very much for Derb, for all of the Reinventing people, just for everybody that went there. It was awesome. And I definitely stayed on the outskirts a little bit. I didn't dive into the fray like normal, but it was a lot of fun. I got to catch up with a ton of people. But yeah, and it was great. And I can't wait to get out to the Phoenix show in August. And thank you again to Derb, everybody that went and checked it out. It was pretty amazing. We beamed in with a lot of cool people. So this is going to be a quick one. I do have a clip of an awesome Haley Adams interview that I did like 3 years ago. It was in the midst of some of my lost years, but it was a great, it was a great interview, and I kept on meaning to edit it. So I'm like almost through editing it, so I could get you a clip for today. Also, I'm going to preview or give, I don't know if you've heard, but Jeff Gogue and Laura Jade are publishing a tattoo magazine. And as you know, they are all about class and simplicity and forward thinking. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what they have in store. So yeah, I guess I could just start by screen sharing. Oh, I wonder if I have the screen sharing here. Let me do this right. Okay, well, you know what? So that means I'm going to start off with this clip from Haley Adams while I figure out some of my software. Like I said, I just got it set up, and yeah. So enjoy this. It's about a 15-minute of the full hour and hour 10-minute interview. And on the other side, we'll show off Jeff's and Laura's new magazine, and as well as I think I have one other thing to talk about. Oh yeah, the Robert Hernandez benefit print. Okay, so here we go. Let's make this transition here. Our next guest got up bright and early in San Francisco. Can't thank her enough. She's the owner of a brilliant shop in the heart of an amazing city that's got deep roots in tattooing, Castro Tattoo. Thank you very much for joining us, Haley. It's going to be exciting to catch your thoughts about tattooing.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So if people are tuning in and they're not familiar, or even if you are familiar with her, you can go to HaleyAdamsTattoos.com to check out her portfolio, or on the Instagram, it's at Haley Adams Tattoo, and the studio is at Castro Tattoo SF. And do you want to maybe talk about just what it's like to be in such a unique part of a great city and how you landed there?
I mean, I don't know. I can't be grateful enough for just being in the Castro. I wanted to move to San Francisco since I was 15 years old. I've been telling all my friends this like forever, and I'm like, I'm going to own a shop in San Francisco. And they're like, yeah. But I'm from like North Carolina and like grew up in like 5 different states. So it's just like this thing that kept repeating for me. It's like, oh, that's where I'm going because the weather's nice, and the only bad thing anyone says about it is like, oh, isn't that the land of the fruits and nuts or whatever?
Yep.
And you're like, oh, yeah, that sounds cool, you know?
Sure. Some computer geeks, and I'm down.
Yeah. And it's amazing there, public transportation and all.
Sure.
I landed there. I was just trying to work my way to San Francisco, like, the whole time.
Didn't know you tattooing before while you were traveling around or landing there, or is that did you start tattooing in San Francisco?
I started my apprenticeship when I was 15 in Missouri, and then
How'd you land that? 15 years old?
I like bothered this guy forever. I'd run into his shop and drop off artwork, and I'd be like, apprentice me, I want to learn to tattoo. And he'd be like, get the fuck out of my shop, you're too young, you know? Sure. And I just like kept coming back and kept being like, come on, apprentice me. And like I would ditch my artwork there. He was stuck with it, and eventually I saw him start putting it on the walls, you know? And I was like, oh, I think I'm getting in, you know? And then I ran into there one time and was like, fucking apprentice me, come on, please. And then he's like, you're too young. Get out of my shop. And I was like, I'll be 15 tomorrow. And he was like, fine, come in tomorrow.
Awesome.
And that started that. So
awesome. Now, did you have to like make needles and all that, or was it? What year was this?
When I was 15, was that 2005?
Okay. So yeah, you were definitely making needles then, right?
he taught me how to make needles. It wasn't a necessity.
Yeah. Awesome. And
yeah.
So then you so you didn't start tattooing professionally, or did you? Or so what happened next?
Yeah. So I apprenticed for a year, and then I was tattooing in the shop professionally at 16. The health department agreed to give me my license as long as they didn't see any tattoos on my body. Because they were like, you can't get tattooed, but you can give tattoos. So of course I just got my legs tattooed, you know? Yeah, so there was restriction on that. And then when I was 17, I moved to North Carolina, and I had already been working in a shop or tattooing professionally for a year then. And then, yeah, started that weird adventure. That was pretty strange. I started off in like college dorm rooms there at A&T, and then finally getting another job, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, just...
Awesome, amazing. But so then you landed in San Francisco years later.
Yep, I had to go to North Carolina, to Arizona to try to get my work to be good enough to where I thought that people in San Francisco would hire me, because that there's amazing tattoo artists here, and I didn't want to come with like some sloppy ass work and be like, yeah, I'm here, guys, you know.
Sure. Who are some of those artists that were inspiring you, or to get to San Francisco? Who are the influences?
Oh man, I don't know. There was a few realism artists. I would have to say, okay, so Henry Lewis, his work is super sick, right? A lot of the guys at Seventh Son, just creeping on all their work. There was also like a cool like gay tattooer scene. Like there's queer tattooers here. Like that's fucking crazy. Just like learning the history more is like, I don't know, gets you kind of amped up. Castro Tattoo was established like in 18 years ago.
Holy moly,
and
awesome.
It was a piercing shop at first. But one of the things that really drew me to San Francisco is all the wild civil rights stuff. There was the White Night riots where basically, I guess.
I'm not familiar. I'd love to hear the history. I'm embarrassed I don't know.
Okay. So in San Francisco, and of course all over the United States, but a lot in San Francisco, cops used to go into gay bars and pull everybody out and like beat the shit out of them. And then if there was like somebody who's like queer walking down the street, they'd like kick their ass basically. And there was a lot of like raids on gay bars and like trying to shut them down and everything. So a bunch of people in the LGBT community took over like one square block. And then whenever the cops would come, or someone was walking down the street and the cops were going to beat them up, they'd blow a whistle, and then everybody would come out and they'd fight the cops.
Awesome.
So then it created like this force field, right?
Like a safe space, right? Literally.
Yeah. To fight the police, and the Castro is that place, and that's where my shop is. So I'm beside businesses that have been there that whole time, that like created this force field against the police. The bar right beside us was the first bar in the United States, first gay bar, to unblack their windows. You used to have to like put paint on the windows so you couldn't see in, so you could hide. And this place is just windows all the way around the corner, and they're the first one to be like, yeah, fuck you, because they took over this like one area of town, and then the cops couldn't fuck with them anymore. And then that led to the White Night riots, where Harvey Milk was shot, and then everybody exploded and like set all the cop cars on fire and like injured a shitload of police, and then marched to City Hall and caused a shitload of damage, you know.
Stop doing this.
Yeah, totally. So that's one of the things I really like about all the civil rights movements is like there's this huge rebellion and everybody exploded and they had to fight, you know. And I'm super proud that the tattoo shop is right there where it happened, like fucking
awesome.
right there. Yeah.
And how I saw the movie. How faithful is the movie to the Milk movie? How faithful is that to the story?
I've never seen the Harvey.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go.
I've just seen like documentaries and like read stuff about
Sure.
it. But everybody
are there
like,
any
you got to watch the movie. I'm like, yeah, I should definitely do that. But you know,
I imagine it's a little bit like the Snowden movie. It's like, you know, the Hollywood version of it. Are there any specific documentaries about the Castro that you could recommend people watch or check out?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there is that series on Netflix right now that's Tales of the City.
Okay.
And that's all San Francisco-based stories, and there is like a lot of queer stories from back in the day.
Sweet. Awesome, perfect.
So, cool.
And how about some of the tattooers from the area there that influenced your decision to move?
Yeah, there's obviously a super rich history for San Francisco and Northern California tattooing. One of the people who is like one of my idols, and then some of the people I work with, they're like impressed by, is Phil Sparrow. He is like, he's an intellectual. He has written a lot of books and poetry and stuff under Samuel Stewart. He helped create the Kinsey scale, which is this scale that's brought up in like queer communities a lot, in the culture a lot, of like on a scale of 1 to 6 of how gay are you, basically, or how straight you are. It's like, you know, it goes between both.
Sure.
And it took like a lot of research and stuff. But he was one of Dr. Kinsey's like best homies, you know.
Awesome.
So it's cool that that's written off of him. And then he also mentored Ed Hardy. Ed Hardy's first tattoo ever was in Phil Sparrow's shop.
Awesome.
So
crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, straight history there. I mean, real history for tattooing foundations.
Yeah, and Ed Hardy talks about it too. He's like, yeah, this wild guy, you know.
Pretty counterculture. I read his Wikipedia link after he sent it over, and it was an awesome. I mean, talking about movies, Jesus.
Yeah, that guy's wild, and he's so cool. But he also taught Cliff Raven, who is another like older, like openly gay tattoo artist. Which that stuff's crazy. I like that they both have bird names.
Yeah, right. I love birds. That's good. I got my bird tattoos, right? Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's fun because I mean, I guess tattooing transcends all cultures, right? It's an enabling art for anybody to become who they want to be. So it's fun or it's not fun, but it's amazing and interesting to see how different cultures that were pushed to the sides can use it to empower themselves to. Again, at this point, to push themselves into the mainstream, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know Cliff Raven talks about like how it was like super homophobic back then, but he's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. There's like all this like rebellion and being like fucking weird, right?
Sure. And it's so awesome when you're rebellious inside of the tattoo community. It's like, hey, come on, we're all in this to be counterculture. How could you?
It's like, yeah, that's what they're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be like badasses and fucking weird and like fighting the system, and then, can't shut other people down for that.
No, of course not. Do you feel like that's changed, right? So now that tattooing is it's on TV for 12 or 13 years, and it's becoming really mainstream. Do you feel like that enables more people to? I mean, obviously, it enables more people to experience the art of tattooing, but do you feel like it waters down that spirit of rebellion?
Totally. I remember, like, before all the TV shows and everything, people would come in. I think that's the secret. The secret part is, like, being, like, a little more, like, destroyed. But people used to come in and they'd be like, whoa, that's what a tattoo machine looks like. It was like, oh, that's how you do that. Wait, what do you do with that ink? Like, does it go in the machine? I don't get it, And I always thought that was really cool. That was, like, this huge mystery to them. And we were the only ones who knew,
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess you can be. It is less.
Our next guest got up bright and early in San Francisco. Can't thank her enough. She's the owner of a brilliant shop in the heart of an amazing city that's got deep roots in tattooing, Castro Tattoo. Thank you very much for joining us, Haley. It's going to be exciting to catch your thoughts about tattooing.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So if people are tuning in and they're not familiar, or even if you are familiar with her, you can go to HaleyAdamsTattoos.com to check out her portfolio, or on the Instagram, it's at HaleyAdamsTattoo, and the studio is at Castro Tattoo SF. And do you want to maybe talk about just what it's like to be in such a unique part of a great city, and how you landed
Ooh.
there?
I mean, I don't know. I can't be grateful enough for just being in the Castro. I wanted to move to San Francisco.
Okay. The full interview is, well, being edited as we speak. Well, maybe not quite as we speak, but when we're done here, I'm going to dig right back into it. And yeah, I've got a pretty cool format for the full TattooNOW show. I've got a couple extra sponsors that are hopping on board, which is very exciting. I'm booking guests for the upcoming weeks. Okay, I did want to let you know, I think I teased a couple of cool projects. Let's see, Jeff Gogue and Laura Jade, boom, they have a new tattoo journal. Olinger, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but I know that with Jeff and Laura at the helm, it's going to be pretty awesome. It is OLINJAR.com. And you can see it's Jeff and Laura's new endeavor. He's got a pretty amazing blog here, needless to say. And you could imagine when he's making a magazine, or when him and Laura are making a magazine, that, yeah, they're going to kill it. So, already subscribed. It's very reasonable. It's a quarterly. If anybody knows the tattoo world, knows that there's a quarterly, magazine that's needed. And chatting briefly with Jeff about it over the texts, yeah, he's got some great ideas. He's going to make sure that it stands out from the rest of the other magazines and whatnot. And it really helps express what it is that him and Laura are going after. Laura's got a great knack for writing, and as well as photography and all that. So it's very exciting to know that there's a new tattoo magazine, a new tattoo journal coming. It's not really a magazine, it's a journal, right? Okay, so OLINJAR.com. Check it out. There's the subscription button right there. And then if you go to reinventingthetattoo.com/Ukraine, this is going to bring us to the Ukraine benefit section, and Robert Hernandez, Ukraine print. Oh, that's my tea going off. I gotta boogie this. But yeah, check it out. Reinventingthetattoo.com/Ukraine for $100 plus shipping. You get one of a limited edition Ukraine print. It's a really grave situation there. It's so yeah. We have, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 left before we need to make another run. So click those buttons. Thank you very much, and I'm gonna go stop my tea now. Okay.